Hey there, welcome to Hiking for Health CA. We're going to go over a quick review, try and do a 5-minute review, 5-point review. Well, it is five stars, so the reviews can be up to 5 stars. Anyway, Salt Point State Park is what I'm going to be review specifically because I can only review my experience of where exactly I stayed. So I'm going to say that it is in the Woodside Campground because Salt Point State Park has 2 sides of it. Across the highway is a different campground. I think it's the Gersel Cove campground, and I have not stayed there before, so I cannot review that. We drove through it. It looked pretty cool. A couple of good sites that were interesting for the style we camp, which is car camping with our Subaru. But we stayed in the Woodside campground. And so I'm going to say it was a decently positive experience with the actual campsite itself. It had the usual amenities inside the actual campsite. You've got your fire circle, you've got your bear locker, you've got your and I got to say with the Salt Point, based on past experience when we did one of the family campgrounds, you want to use the locker not for bears but for trash pandas. They are pretty thick in that area and they can be a real pain in the butt. They raided our camp once and it was kind of hilarious, but at the same time frustrating because they ate all of our cereal. Anyway, and that was even putting it inside where we were supposed to put it inside. They got in. So anyway, Salt Point State Park, my wife and I stayed there this summer. The Woodside campground is nice. Basic amenities in the campgrounds. It is one of those ones where some of them look like you're kind of packed in, but for the most part, you're nice and secluded. You have a campsite to yourself, and it's got brush and stuff in between, and you're not right on top of your neighbors. You can't see in everybody's camp and stuff. So fairly secluded campsite things. Actual campground amenities, it's okay. I gave it kind of what I would consider kind of a flat average score. And the thing is, it's got decent toilets, it's got showers, so those are always nice and stuff like that. But as far as other amenities, at least in the Woodside campground, none. There's no visitor center that was really open ever when we were there, and we were there in the summertime where that should be your peak camping season, and so if you're going to have your stuff open, it should be open. It wasn't. The camp host who sells firewood was there maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours out of the entire day. You had a small window at a certain time, so that wasn't great. It doesn't have any kind of like I say, like a real visitor center or any kind of a souvenir shop, which can, it's like, again, I'm camping, I get it, you don't need that kind of stuff, but I think it's kind of a nice amenity to go visit stuff like that. Now, I know in the Gersel Cove area, there is something labeled as a visitor center and information area and stuff like that, but both days that we went into that area just to see the coast, and you can have a nice picnic lunch, even if you don't have a campsite in the area. They have day-use picnic areas to just sit on the coast and have a nice meal and stuff like that. It was closed both times. Again, in the peak summertime, when you think that's your peak season, most of your people are going to be there, and the campground was pretty much full. They didn't have it open. So that kind of took them down a peg for that one. Not huge because, again, that's not what I'm going for. Surrounding area has some nice things depending on what you're into. If you like history, it's not a far drive into a couple of historical points, including Fort Ross, an old Russian fort that you can get to. There's plenty of hiking trails, and that's the one that works for me. There's quite a few. You can get into the Pygmy Forest. I've done a review of a couple of the trails here on my channel, so you can find those in the day hike playlist. for Salt Point State Park, under Salt Point State Park. So you can see some of those on this channel and things like that. And for those who care, for most of the trip, I did have on Verizon Network cell signal in the campsite itself, but it was a weak one. So it was kind of, you're not going to do a whole lot with it. Maybe send a couple of texts and things, but yeah, you're not going to be able to watch videos or whatever you might want to do on your, what do you call it? Your camping trip. That didn't bother me much because that's not why I'm camping. But some people want to know about that kind of thing. So there we go. So as a total, because I like the area and the fact that it's right there on the coast, you have coastal access to just the beautiful Highway 1 California coast area and things up in Northern California. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5. Again, the only drawback was some of the campground amenities just weren't there. They didn't have things open and some services weren't there. But for the most part, most of it was pretty fun and pretty good. So that's not bad. 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it in that Salt Point State Park. And I'll catch you later.